Hi, this is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a template that I created to help you create two object or two color patterns in Photoshop. In the description below, I will leave a link to where you can purchase this template set. After purchasing this template set, you will get your download, and inside the download are 3 different files. We have 2 Photoshop files and an action file. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this template works. Go ahead and clicking on it and bringing it up in Photoshop. With this template set, there are 28 artboards that create different patterns using 2 different objects, or you could do 2 different colors of an object. So here in the first artboard here, you have your 2 objects that you can adjust. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on this smart object for object 1. I'll go ahead and turn off this layer, and then I'm going to draw a circle. So I'm going to access the ellipse tool. We're going to go right click here for the ellipse tool, and then I'm just going to hit D on the keyboard to get my default color here, and then I'm just going to drag shift click to drag out a circle, hitting the space bar just to see how big it is. And then I'm just going to go ahead and center that. So we'll just go V on the keyboard and then just making sure it's centered here. Before I close out of this, I'm going to jump back in my other document here, clicking on object 2. We'll turn off this layer here. And then I'm going to jump into where my new circle is here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate layer. And then from here, you can change the document destination. So I'm going to hit the drop down arrow, and we want to move it to object 2, and then just click on OK there. So I can now save this one, Command or Control S, closing out, Command or Control W. And then we're now in the object 2. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a second color just so we can see the difference here. So we can save this one now. Make sure this is centered, and then we can go ahead and save this. Command or Control S to save it. Command or Control W to close that file. Because this template is designed with smart objects, our object automatically adjusted throughout the different artboards. So the next step is to save these patterns. So we are going to bring in the actions included with this template. So to do that, you'll want to open up your Actions panel. If you do not see it, you're going to go to Window and select Action. From here, I'm going to hit this upper icon and then click to Load Actions. Go ahead and navigate to your template files, and then you're looking for the file that has .atn, and then you can just click to open it. Here at the bottom, I have the folder with the actions here, and there are 3 different actions here. The one we are going to use for the moment is called Define 28 Patterns, because we have 28 artboards. I'm going to go ahead and click on Play, and the action automatically saves all these various patterns. So let's go ahead and bring up our Patterns panel, and as we can see, we have all of the various patterns saved from our template automatically. Let's go ahead and test some of these patterns on a larger document. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new document. I'm going to go File, New. This time I'm going to use the dimensions of digital scrapbook paper, which is 3600 pixels by 3600 pixels. I'm going to have Artboard selected and then just click to create. Let's go ahead and create a second artboard. So I'm going to hit Shift V. You can also find the Artboard tool under the Move tool here, and then I'm just going to click to create another artboard. We'll hit Shift V to get back to our Move tool, and then I'll just rearrange first artboard here. And then using our first action, we have pattern test 1 pattern. I click to play that action, and what that does is it creates a color fill layer with a clipping mask to our pattern fill layer, and then another color fill layer. And then we'll just look at artboard 2. And then as another one, I have pattern test 2 patterns. You can click play. And then here it has 2 different pattern fill layers and 2 different colors to go with the patterns here. So I just created those 2 actions as a quick way to test your patterns. One thing I want to point out here, because I created these pattern fill layers on a this artboard too, it's not exactly aligned to the canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these layers here. I'm going to jump back to artboard 1, and then I'm going to, let's just select a new layer. Let's play that pattern 2 again over here. And then I'm just going to take those layers and I'm going to move them to my artboard 2, and now we have them aligned. So that's just one of those weird things that happen when you're using artboards in Photoshop. When you create a pattern fill layer within any artboard that is not the first position artboard, then you can run into that problem. So typically I will always create it in the first artboard here and then copy it over just to make sure it aligns appropriately to my artboard. So let's bring up the patterns window here again, and let's go ahead and test some of these patterns. So let's scroll to the top here. So if we come to our pattern fill layer here in our first artboard, we can see our new patterns here. One was automatically created for each of the colors. So whether you're using 2 different shapes or 2 different colors of one shape, some of these might be redundant as far as the save patterns go. And then let's go ahead and test this same pattern, but this time using the 2 different color version. So you just select the layer here, and then we'll select the next layer here, and we see our 2 different colors. You can always adjust the pattern fill layer by double clicking on the pattern icon here, and then you could choose to scale it down. Let's go down to 50%, and then you would need to adjust this one as well here, but you can get a different scale that way with your pattern. And then with these color fill layers, you could always change out the colors of your pattern to see how it looks with a different color. Let's go ahead and test out another one. Let's try this diagonal line using our polka dots here. And then there are just different versions of patterns. We have a brick style. And then there's also half drop styles here. So this template is just a quick way to create patterns that are based off of either 2 shapes or 2 colors of a particular shape. With this template, I've also created a digital paper template. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up in Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the first pattern here. What you'll notice, there are 3 colors here that you can adjust for this template. Currently, we're using a teal and a coral color. And then just zooming in, you can see the various different patterns here that I've made from our template using our circle. And then it just shows different color variations with the different colors here. So zooming back out here. Let's go ahead and try adjusting these colors. So I'm going to double click on this smart object here. And then let's go ahead and try a purple color. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this, Command or Control S. Closing this out, Command or Control W. And then as you can see, it has updated it within the artboards here. And so we can zoom in again and you can just see the different variations of the pattern using a different color palette. Go ahead and zoom back out here, Command or Control with the minus key. And then again, you can always adjust the patterns here by selecting a new pattern. With this template, you can easily create 2 color patterns. And if you wanted to save these as digital scrapbook papers, all you'd have to do is go to File, Export, Export As. Here under Scale All, you can add a suffix. So in this case, we can go purple and teal. And then under the files here, just shift click to select all of them here. And then for file settings, for digital scrapbook paper, typically you want to save it in JPEG format. And then you have the option to increase your quality here. Just note that the higher the quality, the larger the file size here. And then just scrolling down under color space, I like to make sure embed color profile is selected. And then you can just click to export, and then each of these patterns will be saved in their own file. Pulling up the folder here, you can see that the purple and teal was added to the file name, and then you can open it up and see your digital paper here. Coming back into our template document here, I just want to point out that you can add a background color at this stage. So if you double click on this smart object here and then just turn on this visibility of this rectangle, currently it's set to white, but you could change it to a different color. And then if you just click to save it, Command or Control S to save it here, and then Command or Control W to exit out, you now have a background throughout your pattern. So I just wanted to give that as an option as well. If you wanted to have a background available at this stage before you saved your swatches, you could do so as well. This will be most helpful for the patterns that stand on their own, like the polka dot pattern here or the brick pattern here. Having a background when you save one of these patterns that require the two different patterns, you won't be able to change the colors later on. So I just wanted to show you this, that you can add a background color if you wanted to at this step here. So we'll just go ahead and double click, turn off that color again, save it, Command or Control S, and then close it out again to get back to our transparent background here. In this example, we use circles, but you could easily create two color patterns using stars, hearts, any different type of shape. And this template just provides a solution to make it easy to create those two color patterns for your projects. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to get your hands on these templates, I will leave a link to my shop where you can purchase these templates. Thank you for watching this video. This is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. See you next time.